scared because, especially now more than ever, the way we taught to view what a man's supposed to bring, even traditionally, the shit not even appreciated. The incel stuff, the red pill stuff, the passport stuff, it's not new.
Mm-hmm.
It might be new to black men, like the black manosphere. It might be new to us. But if you go some decades, I mean, I really think about how long like white men in the military been bringing back women that ain't from here.
Bringing them back. I know they be having some children outside.
Even the ones that like, I mean, you ain't ever seen none of them random couples that be this old white man with a Vietnamese lady?
They love respectfully Asian women. Definitely be the...
Because they what? Are more submissive
for sure.
and more. So if that conversation been around this long, it can't be a new one. We might have just got around to it.
Okay.
Might have just hit YouTube good, but that ain't new. This dissatisfaction with the behavior of, you know how long white men been talking about that? Since the feminist movement. White women like getting back in the kitchen, coming back to the house. Why you think they've been talking about it so long? They put new laws on women's bodies to get them back in the house.
Right.
To keep them pregnant. They've been at it so long, they putting it on the books.
Right.
We putting it on the blog still.
We putting it on our podcast. And
this box causes us to look at our women a certain way.
Okay.
And say that our women have to be a certain way in order to be proper because we trying to be the proper man. And the only way a woman can fit with me is if she jumps in a box too. Be real here, bro. You think white women are docile and submissive and meek?
Not completely.
You ever seen a white man beat into submission in his relationship? Look at the older couples. Don't look at no younger couple, bro.
Well, they definitely, yeah.
You notice how
He
quiet he is now.
They think it's a happy wife, happy life. I think they was pushing that real heavy.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the channel. You see the information on the screen, so you know what I'm about. So let's get into it. So, I found this video again, popping up in my feed out here on YouTube. So I thought I would give it a shot. And right off the rip, I have to agree with a good portion of what he is talking about. Because again, just like he said, this is not new. And, I've been saying the same thing out here on this channel for a long period of time. I even tell people just to look at, former President Trump. Like I said, by the time you see this video, I'm not sure if he'll be reelected or if he will have lost. But no matter what the situation is, we know, that he also has a similar background. So, the title of this particular video is that, Trip Fontaine warns black men living up to unreal standards. Men are honestly scared. And it was the men that are honestly scared part that, really made me want to look deeper into this video. So that's really the part, that I am looking for, to be honest with you. But I did want to just do a quick comment on, different races. But I even wanted to make a comment even on people overseas. Because while a lot of men are going overseas, it's like I've told you all before, even in other races, you're going to find instinct-driven women. And I think what's happening, and again, I think that, a lot of black men are coming into this space, but I don't think that they're really analyzing it fully because they're missing certain pieces because they've just looped everybody up into this one thing of feminism and different things like that. But it's really not that. That's really not what's going on. I know it seems like it is, but it's not. You have to look at the psychology behind it. Like there are literally women here in the United States that don't believe in feminism. 100%. They don't believe in the new wave, I should say, of feminism. And then you also have women that might kind of lean into it a little bit because they're looking at it from the perspective of wanting women to have equal rights. And I even think most men lean into it, from the standpoint of wanting women to have equal rights. But a lot of those women, do choose, to be stay-at-home wives, to be submissive, different things like that. I've brought women literally on this channel, interviewed them. Almost all of the women that I brought in have talked about, how their husband, leads them, many of the women that follow me, which is over 50% now of the people that follow me, more than likely they would lean into that whole concept of the man, leading them in a relationship. I run into a lot of women, period. Like I said, most of my friends, they're married to women that either don't work full-time jobs, or they might work whenever really they get ready to work, because the man is basically making the most money. So again, I think you always have to look at every single category, and you always have to look at it from a holistic perspective. And I think you also have to look at it as a dating perspective. And if you're brand new to my channel, the thing that I say all the time is simple. If you as a person and you go in and you're trying to find an apple, and you go to the bin at the grocery store and it has 100 apples in it, all right? And let's say you get in there in the middle of the day where half of the people have already come to that bin. Which apples do you think are going to go first? The best ones, right? And it's the best based off of the opinion of the people that are shopping there. So if men are coming in and they're basically looking for women that are going to be a little bit more submissive, those are going to be the women that are going to get married first. So if a man is looking for what he considers an attractive woman, a woman that is going to allow him to lead, and a woman that leans into kindness and support, that woman is married and quickly taken off of the dating scene very quickly. But then when the women that are left over are the ones that are struggling to get married, okay? Those are the ones that are still left in the dating pool. Now, for the women that are watching, I'm always telling you all that, there are things you can do. I can't go into it in this video because it'll make it too long, but there's things you can do, okay, in order to make yourself more appealing to men. But, in all, that's how this works. And so the dating pool is filled with people, really men and women, that I don't want to say necessarily that, we are 100% the leftovers, but for whatever reason, we have not been selected, so far or at this moment to be in a marriage. And this could be because you don't know people that get married. This could be because you don't have the attitude of someone to get married. This might be you don't have the resources, of someone. But no matter what the situation, you have to look at all of that. And the argument that a lot of black men, and really men in period, have been trying to let women know, and I think a lot of women honestly have gotten the memo, and they're starting to slowly change their own personal narrative, is that they're recognizing that their resume, their job, work experience, college educated resume does not equate to them getting a good man. It has nothing to do with anything, because a man does not pick a woman based off those things.
I know we shouldn't be trying to take care of all the bills, and I'm still out here trying to earn the money to take care of all the bills. I'm in it with everybody else.
Well, so, cause I'm in the same race.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure. Everything is conditioning, right?
Exactly.
You grow up, someone's gonna kind of groom you to think about yourself in this light, live this way. And so my answer is, that's what I believe. And I don't know, where does it come from? It comes from because that's what I feel is the right thing to do as a man, that I am supposed to take care of the house. And then maybe my woman comes and balances out in different ways. But so if things need to be more fluid in terms of, which I understood even in my space, I've been challenged, like, you don't have to necessarily just be that way. You can, a woman can step in at times, especially if it's tough financially.
Yeah.
But it does make me reflect, like, yeah, are we doing it wrong?
And I don't want to make traditional people like the bad people, the enemy, because again, I got stuff that I'm trying to unlearn, relearn, stuff that's not really applicable, all of that good stuff. It's really just about challenging the narrative and being able to acknowledge out loud where some of this stuff come from. And if you still want it, if you still want to sit with it, if it's still valuable to you, go ahead. But we got to start calling a spade, bro. That'd be my only thing for real.
How does that hurt us?
How does what hurt us?
How does me trying to be, the macho man?
Where I think it does hurt some of us is this belief, and that we keep preaching it. out loud is that you got to go twice as hard to be half as good.
Correct.
No, I refuse to ever measure myself up against anything or anybody that sets me out with a handicap that even if I exceed performance expectations, I could only ever be half as good. That means I gotta go 4 times as hard just to get to ground zero.
See, this is where, again, I'm always, saying, let's look at, the way the mind works. And again, this is one of the differences between, me and, like I said, a lot of the people that are out there. Because like I say, at the core level, I agree with a lot of what he's saying. If you've been following on this channel, I've said it from the very beginning when, people started talking about 50-50 versus 100% when it comes to finances in a relationship. I have said that that is unreasonable. And it's not necessarily saying that women should not think about it or care about it. It's basically saying that men were not prepared for it. All right. See, like I said, it's a totally different story when you go to a 12 or 13-year-old boy and you basically say, okay, one day you're going to have to take care of your family. So you need to be taking your education seriously. You need to be trying to start a business now. You need to be trying to work on your investments, blah, blah, blah. And you tell that to a boy that's 12 or 13. But see, this information is now being told to men that are, honestly, I probably say the average age is probably closer to 27 or even 30. And so now men are trying to figure out, okay, how in the world do I make this happen? Okay, when my whole life has gone down a path where now, it's very difficult for me to turn that path around. And while I don't think a lot of men, are shying away from it, I do think it's really important because see, a lot of women, I think, again, get caught up in social media. But it's just like I've said, on a couple of podcasts here and there, is that social media, even if you looked at every single view, even if you look at every single social media place, even with this is on Comedy Hype's, channel. It is 100,000 subscribers. And even with that, okay, and the fact that this has over 100,000 views, when we look at how many single men, just how many single black men are in America, because there's over 45 million American black people. Okay, well over 45 million. If we were to say what is the dating range, that would probably be half of that. So it's going to be about 20 million. And then if you take half of that, that would be men. So it might be under 15 million. So maybe somewhere around 8 million or so single black men in America right now in what we would consider the primary dating age. All right. And 8 million people ain't watched this video. Okay. And see, that's the point that I'm trying to make. Is that even when we say all this stuff is going on with social media, you have to recognize that a lot of black men ain't watched this. They're out there living their life, doing whatever it is that they do. They might have got some of it through friends and family and different things like that. But we cannot assume that everybody is doing the exact same thing. It's the same thing with, a lot of the women. Okay, not every single black woman is on that bandwagon trying to do it. And I've done even videos on this channel that has shown that a lot of black women really don't care about this 50-50, 100, as far as the finances are concerned. But I think we have to make steps if that's where people want things to go. And you have to go back to that whole place where you're teaching women, like I said, at 12 or 13, how to basically be a traditional wife. And then you're basically teaching men at that stage how to be traditional husbands, if that is the route people want to take. But I don't believe that that is where America is going, ever again. But I do think people might try to do that with their children. But no matter what the situation is, I don't think that we live in an environment that has to be like that. And for a lot of the women that are watching, I've said it before, the average man makes around 48, black man makes around $48,000 or so. I might be a little bit off, but he makes about $48,000, and that's the average. Okay, less than 15% of African American men, okay, make over $100,000 a year. Okay, that's very few. And when you start to add in things like you want him to be so tall and you want him to be this and you want him to be Christian and all those other types of things, you can quickly get yourself down to 1% of the population. And again, that is why so many men also make the complaint that, most of the women are chasing this very small pool of men, which for most women is unrealistic and it's not wise to try to push that. Now, while some of your friends might get it, okay, some of them will not. And that's why another reason why I'm always telling women, open up your dating pool, maybe date a little bit older men, be okay with dating a man that, like I say, if you are 5'5", you really should be dating 5'9" and up, so don't have a problem with it. But if you're a woman that's 5'8", you need to be okay with dating a man that is 5'8", because you need to recognize that you're tall. So you have to see yourself first. And as a woman, if you see yourself first, then you can make better choices. But if you're always trying to make a choice based 100% on this romantic notion, okay, of what a relationship and marriage should be, it is going to set you up for failure, because what we see on TV and in movies and in books, while it technically can happen, it rarely does. And for a lot of the women that have seen like the movie Precious, or even have read the book, the person that wrote that basically said that came from working in social work, for like so many years. I don't know exactly how many years it was, but that person took all of that, what had happened in dozens of cases, and put all that on Precious. So Precious' life, technically it could happen, but it's unlikely, because she in that movie / book basically carried the weight of dozens, okay, of women or girls or boys or whatever it was that were in the system. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because that's the same way their romance books work. The author goes through, they experience things, they hear about their friends experiencing things, and so they're taking all of that and they're placing it upon this one man, and they're making him perfect. Okay? And you have to watch that, because most men in reality can never live up, to that level. And if you want that as a woman, all that's going to do is going to keep you in frustration, pretty much for the rest of your life, seeking the impossible.
With the value of the dollar decreasing for everybody. Bro, we talking about for everybody, not just black people, because we know once things hit us, it gets exponentially worse. We talking about for everybody. We already not getting paid what white people getting paid. So you actually factually do have to work harder in that regard for all your dollars to add up. What you gonna do now? Work harder? Working 50, 60 hours a week, bro, just to make sure they straight. Not wealthy, just to make sure they straight. How many more hours you got to give? Then at that point, because that is scared. And this is where I'm going to empathize with the fellas.
Okay.
Men are scared.
Of what?
Losing everything that they have to work harder and harder and harder and harder to gain.
Well, again, I agree with this, but I also think here is one of those things that I know I talk about on the channel that is not as popular, but I am going to lean into this. The world that we live in is changing, and I'm always talking about information. And even the Bible talks about, that my people fail for lack of knowledge, right? Because there's things that are happening, there's things that's going on, and if we don't prepare ourselves for those things, we end up in a situation that can hurt us, right? And I know for me, I've always encouraged, like I say, the black men that follow me, to at least consider going back to school, or to consider taking upon themselves a brand new vocation in life, right? Because to what he is saying, I have to admit, I agree. I 100% agree. But there is a difference when you basically sit in it. All right. And see, that is the place where I'm not going to say he's wrong. Like I say, I'm leaning towards what he's saying. But me, I am, for those that are following me for a long period of time, I'm a problem solver. And even though the solution might not necessarily be favorable, I have to be realistic about it. Okay. And what's happening right now is a lot going on right now in our world. I'm just being honest. And the first level of what he is saying, you know, the men that are out there, they do have the opportunity to change their stars, so to speak, and change jobs, change positions, right? And they have to think differently, because even if you get the factory job, you have to understand how to schmooze yourself all the way to the top. And if that basically means that you have to learn how to play the white man's game, then you just have to learn how to do it. Like I have a really good friend, you know, that worked in the factory, right? And me and him always talk. We were always talking trip, right? And you know, he's from Detroit, and me and him would just kick it. But he never went to college or anything like that. You know, he stopped at high school, and so he went into the factory, started working, you know, up there in Detroit, moved to Atlanta, and basically worked at factories in Atlanta. And most of the companies I work for have been basically manufacturing. That's how I ran into them. So anyway, me and him are out there talking, and I told him straight up, I was like, from what I've seen, you know, I was like, you really need to get close to management. Okay? Do whatever you can to get close to management, to be buddy buddy with management. And then after you've been here about 2 or 3 years, if there's some jobs that come up, see if you can start to apply for management type positions. Because see, this is one of those things that some black people don't know that they can do, but they can actually do. And if and you know, and I told them, I said, if you need to take a business course or go, you know, try to, you know, get some business type things on your resume, some certifications, different things like that. I was like, in this 2 years, this is your time to do that. And he actually took me up on it because he understood that that was the correct path. You know, and me and him talked about, you know, just being real. You know, we talked about, you know, even how he talks. You know, a lot of people, you know, they know how, you know, he's talking about code switching and different things like that. You know, and he understood that he had to play that game. That when he's around certain people, he can't talk black no more. He has to, you know, talk very proper and be like, hey, how you doing? You know, John, you know, how was the weekend? You know, and he understood that he had to play that game. And see, again, that's where a lot of people, they don't want to play the game, but you have to play the game to win. Okay. And we can't let our pride get in the way, you know, a lot of times, you know, especially when, you know, we're not willing to do certain things. But I also know people, like I said, they fully went back to college. They finished, you know, things. And then maybe at 30, they went back to college, you know, grown black men that went back, and just going back to college and getting everything right, they were able to up their salary for 15 to 20,000. Now, I'm not saying everybody needs to do that, because right now, you know, I'll be honest with you, with school rates being so high, it might not be worth it. But again, small business loan, going to take a business class, you know, all these types of things. You know, there's so many opportunities out on the internet, you know, for people, you know, to lean into. But I'm going to take you one step further that I don't know if he's talking about yet. You know, I'm going to watch a little bit more of the video. But like I said, I don't want this video to be too long. But one of the things that you really need to also pay attention to is the invention of AI. All right. And Elon Musk recently, if I could find a video, I'll toss it up for a second. But he basically talked about how in the future, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Wall-E, you know, WALL-E. If you've never seen that movie, it's a Disney film, and you should go check it out, because literally Elon Musk was describing a Wall-E future.
There will be fewer and fewer jobs that a robot cannot do better. What to do about mass unemployment? This is going to be a massive social challenge. And I think ultimately we will have to have some kind of universal basic income. I don't think we're going to have a choice.
Universal basic income.
Universal basic income. I think it's going to be necessary.
So it means that unemployed people will be paid across the globe
Yeah.
because there is no job. Machine robot is taking over.
That's simply and I want to be clear that these are not things that I think that I wish would happen. These are simply things that I think probably will happen.
Where robots are pretty much taking care of humans, but humans don't have to work anymore. And that all of the humans will get a stipend from the government very communistic, type of situation. And I'm telling you, in America, that's not going to happen. That is not going to happen. That is what Elon Musk is saying to sell you on this dream. But I'm pretty much telling you what's going to happen because it's happening now. All right. Amazon is using robots as much as they possibly can, to go get boxes and different things like that. Uber is even, starting to play around with AI, to drive their cars and different things like that. And almost every single company is playing around with it. Even McDonald's is playing around with either robots and or AI to do the job of people. And when we're talking about do the job, what they're talking about is a job where you did not need an education. Okay, those are the jobs that they want, okay, to remove. But those jobs, that's about 65 to 70% of people in America. They work a job with their hands. Okay, they're not literally they've been trained on the job, or they might have went to some training, but they didn't really go through a college educated type of training. So everything from truck drivers all the way, like I say, to people that are flipping burgers, to people that, are cutting yards, all this kind of stuff. All those jobs are going to go away. In the next 20 years, they're going to be gone. And it's really important for you all to pay attention to this because it's going to create a situation within the United States where it's going to be bad. It is going to be very, very bad. And so what he is saying, I agree with, but I don't think he understands the magnitude of what he is talking about. Okay, and that is why on this channel, I'm trying to give you ideas so that you can prepare yourself for what's going to happen in the next 20 years. All right, because it's literally happening now. And again, I'm always telling you all that your social media feed lets me know your future. And I'm letting you know my social media feed is all about what's happening in the business world, what's happening when it comes to technology. Those are the types of things that I'm always watching.
Wasn't abnormal for no regular dude to have a home. He may have been renting that, but he had a crib. Bring a little shorty back, because they had a regular person could move to the low end suburbs. You could still afford that. I don't know if y'all remember, good people. I may be showing my age as a person. Y'all remember starter homes? Y'all remember people could buy those? That regular people could buy like a first home and hope to make some type of step up. I don't know if y'all remember them because now they Airbnbs and regular houses and stuff like this. So I don't know, some of y'all may be a little too young. But now, outside of me giving you my time and shit like that, some of that stuff not free. And the little things cost a lot more literally than they ever have. This is scared, bruh. This is scared because especially now more than ever, the way we taught to view what a man's supposed to bring, even traditionally, the shit not even appreciated. You feel me? I don't get commended for being a who got my shit together. You did me? So it's like regular for the most part are afraid. I can empathize with that. Especially now being a dude of status. Seeing the way some of these women talk, all that princess treatment, soft life, I want to be taken care of, I need to put me up. Whoa. Whoa.
Honestly, like I said, I can't even, really say much else, about this as far as saying he's wrong. Because he's not. Again, my main thing is to try to find solutions. But I do believe, again, somebody has to be informed in order to get the solution. All right. You have to be informed. Another thing that I've been, honestly talking to a lot of people about recently is moving away from the United States. That might be something that works for certain people, especially if they can make a little bit of money, and set up something that can pull money, out of the system some kind of way. They can actually move to another country because, for instance, there are countries you can go to where the American dollar multiplies. So $1, becomes $3 and $4. Some places even $9 and $10. And I do think a lot of people are going to have to start moving out of the United States. It's just not going to be a place where the average, honestly, current American can live. The only way they can really change this is they have to change the way that they do advertising, and there has to be a move to encourage people to stay where they are. And when you start to study other countries, I know because I consume a lot of foreign films and movies and television and different things like that. And I know, like in Korea, they really do kind of have kind of a caste system. It's not a direct caste, but you can definitely feel it in the movies. And when you start to look at it, it's like the poor people, or they kind of look like middle class people, but they seem like they're a little bit more poor. But they kind of think and believe, they have this belief that nothing's changing, that 99% of them are never going to leave that environment, and so they kind of stay in that environment and they take care of it. But see, in the United States, that's never been our mindset. The mindset has always been go up the ladder, go up the hill. The whole American culture is about, pick up, your bootstraps and all this other kind of stuff and get up the hill, get up the mountain. But the problem is, because now this money is starting to dry up, okay, more and more Americans are going to find themselves, okay, at the bottom. All right. And just like he said, there's no, more starter homes and different things like that. And maybe that'll come back. Maybe it won't. But the problem is with that is that for the average person, okay, now this poses a problem. And so now they have to figure out, okay, how they're going to survive. And, if America can't bring in a culture where everybody's going to work together and it's going to be, let's do this. And then people got to find out what kind of jobs they're going to do that the robots, can't be programmed to do. Okay, a lot of people are going to have to find a way to get out of the United States and find other places where they can go and be okay. And let's be real, if robots are here, they're going to be pretty much in all the Western countries, and they might be even in some of the smaller countries. So you have to really watch this, because a lot of these smaller end jobs, and a lot of Black people are not talking about this stuff, but you really need to talk about this. Because like I said, companies have always, like I said, I work in IT. All right. That is literally my 9-to-5 job. And I have been in with managers that have literally told me, just like vice presidents, that have literally told me, give me information. They'll say, give me information, Jay. Okay. Of salaries, of what people are doing, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Because they want me to, give them a report or whatever. And then they look through that report. And I know what they're doing. They're looking through that report. And their whole purpose is to try to remove people. That's their whole purpose. Because right now it's going to be happening at companies all over the United States, because we're starting to go into November. And as you start to go into November, people want their Christmas bonus. And even a company that has been underperforming all year, the VPs still want their Christmas bonus. And so they will fire 10, 15 people so that the company will make $2 million before the end of the year. And then as they do that, everybody gets a $5,000 bonus or a $500 bonus or whatever it is, because that's how they'll divvy up that money. Okay. And yes, they will fire someone, and now somebody will have a bad Christmas just so somebody else, can have an extra $500 in their pocket to go buy Christmas gifts. Okay. It works like that every single year. I've watched it my whole adult life. Okay. At 3 different companies. So I'm just letting you all know, okay, you have to think strategic. You have to think smart. I had done some things and I was moving towards doing more things about money, but I had a lot of men that weren't watching those videos, and then even men in those videos complaining, telling me that they didn't need no video about talking about money. But money is the number one complaint that I hear from men. Okay, and I'm letting you know it's going to get worse. All right, so this is not where I wanted to go in this video, but hopefully this helps, because I'm always trying to help and put information out there. And again, the Bible talks about the fact that, people don't do well when they don't have the knowledge. Okay, Bible says it. My people perish for lack of knowledge. So now you have the knowledge. So now do something with it. Okay, prepare yourself for the next 5 to 10 years so that you can succeed. Okay, as we start to go into 2035 and 2040. Anyway, remember, we have a live coming up on Wednesday. The next coming Wednesday, we will have a live. So please, come out for that. Have your cameras on, jump into the Zoom. And it'll be at 7 p.m. Eastern time. But until then, please like and subscribe, and I'm going to see you all in the very next video.